You and your spouse are pulling a combined $150,000 a year. Two incomes, a house, two cars, and a vacation every summer. And you're 3 weeks from missing your mortgage payment. If you're sitting there thinking, that can't be right, $150,000 is real money, then that's exactly the trap in this industry. Most households earning that kind of income assume the math just works itself out, but it doesn't. High income without structure doesn't build real wealth. It builds a bigger lifestyle that quietly consumes everything that comes in. The number on the pay stub is not the problem. The space between earning it and spending it is where the whole thing falls apart. The brutal part is you wouldn't even know how close to the edge you were until something small went sideways, like a slow month, a car repair, a layoff, or a medical bill. And suddenly, 150K a year on paper feels like it was never there. I've watched this scene play out in high income households on repeat. What I'm about to walk you through is the same structural pattern I used while earning 150K as a single parent during my roofing sales career to stop the feast or famine cycle. I'll show you exactly where the money goes, why the standard advice completely misses the real problem, and what to build starting this week so it stops happening. So let's run the math starting from the beginning. Combined income of 150K gross. After federal and state taxes, you're probably landing somewhere in the low 100s net, depending on your state and withholding situation. Call it 105 to 100 take home. That's $8,750 to $9,200 a month hitting accounts. Most people look at that number and feel secure. Now here's where it goes. Mortgage on the house you bought when the income climbed, $2,400. Two car payments, $1,100 combined. Insurance on both cars, $280 a month. Groceries for a family, $900. Utilities, internet, streaming, gym, another $500. That's $5,180 before anyone has eaten at a restaurant, bought a piece of clothing, or taken a kid to a birthday party or put a single dollar towards retirement. What's left is $3,500 to $4,000 a month for everything else. That sounds like breathing room until you realize everything else includes the quarterly insurance bill, the HVAC repair, the family trip in July, the Christmas spending in December, and all the irregular costs that don't show up on a monthly budget, but absolutely show up in real life. In that scenario, you're not broke because you earn too little. You're broke because every dollar has a place to go before it ever lands, and none of those places are labeled emergency or next month. High income, high expenses, zero buffer. As a commission earner, this scenario is worse than the salaried version. A W-2 household at least knows when the check lands and how much it will be. On commission income, you've got the same lifestyle overhead and a paycheck that might be $12,000 one month and $2,000 the next. The illusion of wealth is more convincing after a big month, but the fall is much harder. Every time a high-income household ends up in this position, someone gives the same advice. Budget. Track your spending, cut dining out, cancel subscriptions, and my favorite, cutting the coffee. None of that is wrong exactly, but in many cases, it's focusing on treating the symptoms rather than the root cause of what's actually broken. In my experience working with commission earners, the gap between what guys think they spend and what they actually spend is almost always larger than they expect. They know the mortgage is too big. They know the car payments are aggressive. The problem is in awareness. When every dollar lands in one account and every expense pulls from that same account, you're running what I call a financial junk drawer. The $8,750 hits the checking, the mortgage auto drafts, the car payments auto draft, the groceries come out, the random Wednesday dinner comes out. At the end of the month, whatever's left is savings, except it's usually not enough to matter and it rarely goes anywhere intentional. Budgeting fails here because it treats a structural problem like a behavioral one. It tells you to spend less on dining out when the real issue is that dining out money, tax money, emergency money, and next month's mortgage money are all sitting in the same account looking identical. Of course you spend it, because structurally, it looks available. Before we get into the fix, hit subscribe because I put out videos every week on managing commission income and the money side of sales. Now, let's talk about what actually changes this. Good news, the fix isn't a budget and accounting for every penny across 30 different spending categories. It's a financial infrastructure you build that gives every dollar a job the moment it lands, before lifestyle has a chance to claim it. This is one component inside the Feast money management system I built, and it functions basically like a modern envelope method for high earners. Here's the core idea. Instead of running everything through one account and hoping the math works, you run money through separate accounts with separate purposes at two different banks. One bank is your spending bank, convenient, debit card attached, easy access. The other bank is your savings and tax bank, a little harder to reach, which is exactly the point. Your main checking handles bills only. A daily spending account is used for your lifestyle expenses for the month, funded at a controlled amount so the balance reflects what you actually have to spend. A fund account holds a small percentage, maybe 5 to 10%, that you spend to zero without any guilt. At the separate bank, a high yield savings account for your emergency fund. And if you're a 1099 earner, another high yield savings account dedicated to being a tax reserve with no debit card attached. Now, here's the piece that will get you real results and not just theory. Name the accounts using the following structure: name plus percentage. Instead of savings account, name it Sleep Easy 15. Instead of tax account, name it Uncle Sam 25. The name reminds you what the account is for every single time you look at it and the portion of each check you decide to allocate to it. But even before you get there, renaming your accounts today takes 5 minutes and immediately changes how you interact with them. The mechanic that makes it work is same-day distribution decided in advance long before the commission ever hits. The moment a check lands, you allocate it to those accounts before the day is over. Not this weekend, same day, because the longer money sits in one account, the more it looks like spending money, and the faster lifestyle finds a use for it. Here's a quick example of what this looks like in practice. Let's say a $10,000 commission check hits your account on a Tuesday. That same day, you move $2,800 to the tax reserve account. You move $1,500 to the emergency fund until it hits your target. You move $800 to the fun account. You fund the daily spending account for the next 2 weeks at your set amount. The rest stays in your main checking to cover fixed bills. Every dollar has a destination before Tuesday night. The decision is already made. There's nothing to negotiate with yourself later in the week when you're tired and the account balance looks tempting. For a household making $150,000 but feeling broke, the fix isn't dramatic. You don't need to sell a car or move to a cheaper house. You need to stop running everything through one account. Once the daily spending account is capped at a fixed monthly amount for variable expenses, the behavior changes on its own. This framework made it possible for me to pay off a $175,000 mortgage in 16 months on commission earnings. Every dollar had a destination before lifestyle could claim it. My wife and I don't fight about money, not because the income is always predictable, because it's not, but because the system answers the question before either of us has to ask it. When she checks the app, she already knows what that number means. The structure replaced the conversation. That's what's available to you, not through discipline, through a different design. Hey, Roof Money Pros, I hope you found this video helpful. If you're tired of big months that don't show up in your account, hit subscribe. That's the exact problem this channel is built to solve, and I drop videos every single week, one breakdown at a time. Also, be sure to get the free Feast Your Famine Survival Guide. It's where I'd start any financial plan in roofing sales, and it walks you through the forecasting foundation so you know exactly what your income is actually doing before you try to manage it. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and remember, you're just one roof away.